some might say that you went from being an accidental legend because you weren't expected to run in that race to an inevitable legend. This was planned out all along.
From day one. And what I didn't plan is all the dramas and all the crap in between. We can't plan those.
That's what makes the story as inspiring as it is, though. You had to overcome circumstance.
Yeah.
You still had to go through the process and overcome obstacles along the way to achieve something, which I think also perhaps leads to my next question. What's the burden of that?
I don't know. I never really looked at it as a burden. So for me, as a child, there's three things that I always wanted to accomplish, and I don't waver. One of them was to become an Olympian. That was the first option. And I knew what's going to happen is my first 25 years of my life, I'd make a lot of sacrifice for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The second piece that I wanted as a child was to be a father.
Mm-hmm.
Not any regular father. I want to be the best father on the planet. And I
Amen.
know that's going to require another 25 years of my life of sacrifices. And I'm still on that path. I'm on my wind down now soon. And the third piece is I wanted to be a businessman. And I wasn't 100% sure what that looked like. But as I get older and wiser, like fine wine, I realize it's not about the money in a sense, because I know the money will be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how can I change the world and leave a legacy behind.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that process was creating my son, right? And I feel like if I can change one life per day or make someone smile per day, I'm in the right direction. Part of that legacy when my son, his name is Nehemiah from the Bible, to change the world, one of God's favorite disciples. But not only that, his middle name is Lion, is to take over the earth. The baddest animal is the lion. So I want them to be strategic. And I teach them that sky's the limit. Do not put limitation on what you're capable of and to love all, which is a guy love everybody. But I have to tell him to be careful because people could try to kidnap him because he's that lovable. But overall, I felt that was part of the legacy if I should leave this world and give him enough tools to make decision. And the last piece is I'm in a situation where now I can impact the world in a global space by creating critique for them and put world's experts in knowledge and expertise. Because when we look at the gravesite, there's a lot of knowledge and expertise died sitting there. And I'm like, I want to captivate and take these mind and share it to the global mass and help people. And that's is where I'm at now. And the last piece of my journey of if I should die today, can I leave a legacy that could live on forever and change the world in some capacity? So those are my three biggest visions, and not necessarily burden, but I guess something that I would love to leave behind as the legacy.
When I speak of burden, when I speak with other athletes here in the lab and they speak of achieving great accomplishments, standing on a stage in front of 20,000 people, having an identity as one thing, as an athlete, and then trying to transition to the next stage and next part of your life. Now, clearly you have transitioned well from an athlete to a coach and a father. And I think I'm perhaps answering my own question because you said something at the beginning of our chat that when you decided to become an Olympian, you had to go raise money.
Yeah.
You were a business person as a young man, right from day one with this vision in mind.
Yeah.
So it really was never about being a burden. It was about starting a business as a young man, achieving that greatness of winning the gold medal,
Yeah.
and then taking that, and that was my business for the rest of my life, and then embracing that, right? Would that be fair for me to say?
Absolutely. Somebody will said to me, so no matter what jobs I've taken over the years as a child growing up, each job is an education for me.
Yes.
It's the way I learn, and it's hands-on, right? So from the first day with a lawyer, I'm a student. As an athlete, I'm a student. My job is I love speed. I'm fascinated about speed and I want to learn more. So I'm a student at all times.
Is that your edge, being the student, Robert, would you say, against others, is because you were a student?
Yes, and I think I relish the fact that I like to start from the bottom and get to the top. And once I'm on the top, right, I can create waves and movements. But to be able to lead, you have to learn.
Yes.
no
Ah.
matter what I do. And I take that in all aspects of my life. I don't mind even taking on a brand new journey, but please let me start from the bottom. And I move very accelerated quickly. Right? I'm a visual, hands-on type of person. Let me learn it. How can I make this better? How can I make this system better? And then own it after that. And now I can teach and minimize people mistakes along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always learned from my elders, and that's why my sister didn't care much for me too much, because I didn't get in trouble a lot with my mother, because I watched the mistakes she made and don't make that same mistake. So I
Yeah.
can.
Robert, you transitioned from athlete to coach. You successfully run a business. A critique. What would be advice you would offer to a transitioning athlete, to a transitioning business leader who is wondering how they're going to achieve their next?
One of the most difficult things for an athlete is to transition from an athlete for how many 20 something years
Mm-hmm.
and go into the workforce. I ain't gonna lie to you, it was a culture shock. It was a shock to my system, because I'm going from a big check. You're working how many hours and you get a big paycheck at this time, a sponsorship deal, so it puts 6 figures in your pocket right away, whatever. But now you're going for transition to a regular minimum wage job. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And then all of a sudden, you see the government took half of your paycheck. I was like, what? Yo, I lost it. I couldn't handle it for a while. And that's why I started developing the last off business on the side, right?
Yeah. Well,
Because
and
then,
that's what I think a lot of people don't really understand or think about, is that we go from putting these athletes on these big stages. You're on the biggest stage in the world. You
yeah.
won an Olympic gold medal. Now you're bitching about your taxes on your Canadian.
It was scary, my friend. And that's part of the reason why I fumbled into coaching. And then I'm working with a lot of sports chiropractor. So I'll do workshop around the world and clinics. And so that way I can see that big paycheck. Right. And then I realized, oh, okay, all right. If I'm going to trade time for money, I have to be comfortable with the money at hand, because I'm gonna love what I do and passionate, and I'm gonna be very good at what I do. And but it has to make me feel good, because I'm making them money, and that's how I end up. I was lucky to, I think, maybe have 3 jobs, but 3 passionate jobs. I started out the Fazani Group. I went in, I brought the department $1 million in 3 months, and the VP of Fazani flew in and said, "Who are you? What's going on? Why are you making so much money for us?" And I said, "You gotta love people." I tell them the truth. I show them my technique, and we change the whole culture of the company based on that. So I did that for about 2 years, and I said, "I want more money," because I realized I made them millions of dollars. He says, I said, no. I said, they pay me what I want, or I walk. A lot of them always think I'm bluffing. So guess what? I walk. I
Mm-hmm.
still have my side business where I can do as a full-time business. I only do it because of my love and passion. I didn't want to do it as full-time. So I took time off and do that for a while. Then I got back into another company, and medical company. Don't know anything about medical. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't have my biology, all that stuff, but I understand a bit of biomechanics. And I went into the interview after the 2010 Olympics, right? And at the end, I had a test that I had to do. I had 5 out of 10 of the biomechanics and anatomy. That's not my expertise. So I said, listen, let me come back tomorrow and write the test. So now the owner's in there, the VP, and the other VP that looking to hire me, we went into the meeting, and I did the test, and I got 7 out of 10. So they said, "You sure you want this guy?" I said, "Listen, man, I'll make you millions. You just don't know who I am." He goes, "You're gonna be talking to doctors and surgeons all the time and stuff, right?" So that's not a problem. I'm a speed doctor. Right? I'm like a chameleon. I blend it. He looks at me and said, "You know what? Let's hire this guy. I think we got the right guy." Because I think that store that I went into, they fired about 7 managers within a matter of 5 years. So nobody lasts long there, right? So I went in there and run it for 7 years till I moved back, right?
Yeah.
And part of that was I can set up my own franchise on the East Coast when I moved back. So those all lessons of learning where I feel, don't worry about all that stuff, the noise. I'm good at what I do. Let me run it like a business. Let me run it passionate. But most importantly, let me run it that you care about people. And if you do that, the money is there.
When we talk about transitioning from athlete to business world, there's going to be a process involved.
Absolutely.
You got to love the people you're working with to make it fun.
Absolutely. And trust along the way. And sometimes trust is a very difficult thing to do. And within that process, understand this, and people, please understand this. There's gonna be haters.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people who feel like they can do a better job than you, who want to try to move you out the way. But remember, when I teach, I only teach 90%. Because if one day something happens to me, they can try to run with it. But that 10%, that's the game changer I don't give up. That's me. I leave at 10%. So make me valuable.